With us now is Hannah Jordan, Director of Digital Marketing at Demandbase. Welcome, Hannah. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Claire.
Of course. I'm sure folks here are familiar with the brand, but for those who aren't, can you just share a little bit about Demandbase?
Yeah, absolutely. So Demandbase is an account-based go-to-market platform. And so really what that means is we know that your accounts are giving off all these digital signals and engagement touch points. But the issue is right now they're in all these different systems. You have, your CRM, your marketing automation platform, maybe an intent solution, website data. And so these are all really rich data points. But if they're not speaking to one another, then it doesn't really help you that much. So Demandbase brings in all of these different touch points, helps make sense of them, ties them back to the account, and really gives sales and marketing teams very actionable insights to kind of go after the best fit accounts with the right messaging.
Awesome. Perfect. Now, Demandbase has been a customer of Qualified for a while. Can you share why you and your team brought on Piper, the AI SDR?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually here when we initially onboarded Qualified and had worked super closely with the entire team. And we were just seeing so much good success with the amount of revenue and pipeline that it was bringing in. I think where the hard part was as our company grew and kind of we got more website visitors and more questions were being asked, the SDRs were really strapped for bandwidth. And so then it was really trying to think through okay, how can we still give, website visitors a great user experience, but also give SDRs some time back in their day to where they can then go in and actually start to open some opportunities with these accounts. So that's really what led us to explore kind of this AI SDR or AI SDR driven experience for the chat to actually answer those visitor questions. And then we could still have the SDR touch points if it was a really VIP tier 1 account that was visiting.
I love that, getting more out of the platform to help scale what you were already doing with Qualified, but still have that human touch for the highest priority VIPs. So you put Piper as the front line of engagement on your site. Can you tell us about your strategy with Piper today and the use case and how she works alongside your SDR team?
Yeah, absolutely. So getting Piper, actually trained up was super easy. I feel like we did it in under a week. Really what it did was it read the website, and then I went back and I looked at the previous conversations that had happened from real visitors and looked at what questions they were asking. And so this gave me a good idea of what are the most frequently asked questions. And then I just used those questions then that I asked Piper, the AI, and then could kind of evaluate the answers from there. I created some templates for if someone asks about pricing, for example, then we should give them, this direction, or if they ask about a meeting or a trial. So it was really easy to get her trained up. And then we just kind of put her out into the wild and, worst case scenario, we'll just see what happens. And honestly, it was amazing. There were questions when I would go back and review it, someone asked it in another language and she answered in that language. And I was like, this is crazy. So yeah, it's just been amazing to free up our SDR's time. And then also the performance. So basically the strategy that we're using is that Piper is there if visitors come to the website and they have, questions that they want to ask about, oh, what does this certain feature of Demandbase do? Now, if it's a tier 1 account, which is our kind of highest priority account, sales just flag them as their big bets. That's where we might actually message the SDR in the back end, automated through Qualified to alert them that, hey, this is a tier 1 account. You should probably jump in and give them that human to human interaction. And so that's where, for the bulk of a lot of our traffic and just quick little questions, Piper's going to handle those. But when it's one of our prime accounts that we're trying to land as on site, that's when we'll bring in the SDR.
Love that. So, first of all, it sounds like implementation was smooth, which is huge, getting to sort of feed Piper and honestly train her like you would one of your human SDRs, and making sure that she's being, she's delivering accurate responses. And then when you actually turned her on, realizing she can answer questions just as good, if not better, than a human SDR. And so the strategy was, hey, let's use her as the front line, loop in VIPs and humans when it makes the most sense, and just kind of, augment what your team is already doing with chat, which is amazing. Can you share the impact and results? I'm assuming obviously this has saved your team a ton of time, but would love to know just within the first few months of using Piper, what have been some of the results that you've seen?
Yeah, the results have been amazing. I think one of the reasons why we implemented it originally was just, the speed to response. So making sure that as people are visiting the website, if an SDR is in a meeting and they maybe can't respond right away, not a great user experience. So I mean, obviously the AI can respond right away, so that's huge. And what we've noticed this has actually led to is actually like a 3x conversion to meetings, not even booked through the web chat, but actually booked on our actual website. So I think people are going, they're asking their questions, and then once they get that immediate answer, then they're like, oh, okay, I'm ready to actually talk to someone about this. So that's been incredible. So I would say like overall our conversations have gone up. It's over 400%. Again, it's that speed part because Piper's there to actually like respond to these people who are asking their questions versus SDRs before might have been busier. We've increased the number of leads that then converted to meetings by 30%. And even like meetings with our tier 1 target accounts, now that our sales team can be much more prescriptive in how they're talking to them because there's not as much volume, we've increased that by 37%. So it's been great results so far. We're very excited to see like how it continues to grow for us too, because I just feel like, basically sky's the limit as far as opportunity.
Yeah, that's amazing. And one other question for you is how have your team of SDRs kind of reacted to bringing an AI SDR onto their team? It must be, super cool for them to see Piper jumping in and engaging. Would love it from their perspective.
Oh, they love it. I mean, when it frees up their time to actually kind of like go in and then reach out to these people who are engaging with the website and you kind of their prospecting that way. I think it also too gives them a peek behind the curtain where like people might not feel comfortable chatting with a person one-to-one and asking some of the questions just, for fear of like, oh gosh, are they going to hound me afterwards? But now because they can just ask the AI, this is actually giving our reps great insights to then later when that account is ready to engage, we actually have a lot of background information and context that we can bring into those conversations. So it's saving the reps time. It's giving us way more insights about what these accounts are interested in, and it's getting us more pipeline. So they are all for it.
Awesome. That is so cool. It's super cool to see how Piper has become like a demand-based SDR on steroids. Thank you, Hannah, so much for being here and for sharing your story with us.